Hey there, Mike Verno here with Rhino Machinery. And today we have Allan O'Neil, a 23-year veteran with Caterpillar. He's been a service technician for 23 years. Prior to that, he spent 15 years in the Army doing special projects, special experimental projects with tanks and General Dynamics. Today he's going to show us how to properly take oil samples. Thanks so much for being with us today, Allan.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Got a couple of questions for you before we get into the actual technique of taking oil samples. And that would be first, how important is it to take fluid samples at regular PM intervals?
It's pretty important. Whenever you take samples, it gives you an idea of what the lifespan of that particular component is. If it's hydraulics, transmission, final drives, or engines, it's really, really good deal to do.
Awesome. So why is it important to get a clean sample?
You want to get a clean sample because it's always better to have a clean sample. If you have anything dirty, well, then it's not going to give you a good reading on what's in that oil, any debris or anything like that.
So you get a false reading.
Yes.
Gotcha. So what are the two methods of getting fluid?
Okay, you've got the probe method, which is use off of pressure, off the component that you're wanting, or the engine, anything you want. And then you also have a vacuum type, which you use a pump to vacuum the oil out of that component.
Gotcha. So I'm barraging you with some questions before we go out into the field, but one of the questions that is often asked, and there seems to be some confusion about, is can you take samples from like an old pan drain plug stream or a waste oil container or even the filter?
I would recommend it if you can. If there's a probe, take it that way. But you can take it out of the oil pan. And sometimes that's even better because you get more stuff in that oil pan, like debris, if it passes the fuel filters, the engine oil filters or anything like that. But myself, I would, if you could, get it out of a probe.
Perfect. Well, and we just were talking about different machines and where to find the ports or the places that we would pull the samples. And I thought I'd ask you to walk around this excavator and just show us where we would find those spots.
The excavator is pretty much the same thing, but this one doesn't have a transmission. It has a pump with final drive. So pull the final drive oils from here. It's got a drain, it's got a level, and it's got a fill spot. What you do, put this drain down here, take this plug off, and get the sample. Just get the sample out of there with a vacuum pump because it doesn't have a probe.
Okay.
Hey, and this particular machine, it doesn't have a probe spot, so you would take the sample out of the dipstick as like I did on that dozer. That's where you would get the sample on this one.
Is one way better than another?
No, either way is good.
Okay.
It's all the same. Pull the oil out, send it to the lab, and it's good.
Perfect.
And of course, this one also has another final drive. You do the same thing. Put the drain on the bottom, fill on the top, and then take the sample out of there. Okay, I'm going to throw this in. You asked earlier if you can put probe ports in there, and I said yes you can. What you can do, you can find you a pressure testing port, which is, if you notice, it's a little bit bigger diameter there. You unscrew this, take this out, and put a port in there, and that way you can get fluid for your pump. Not just your hydraulics, but it'll also pull fluid out of that pump.
Perfect.
Thought I'd throw
Even better test.
Thought I'd throw that in there because you asked that question.
Yep.
Let's see. This one here, I don't see a port for the hydraulic system. So you would go to the hydraulic tank, which is up here, take this plate off, and go to the fill tube and just go straight from the hydraulic tank. That's where you would get the fluid for the hydraulic system. Or if you really wanted to, this is your hydraulic valve here. You can take a port and put it in here. This is a pressure port. Same thing. Take a port out, put a port in there to get your hydraulics if you don't want to go up there.
Perfect. Okay. Are those interchangeable? You can just put one in and out as you want?
Yeah.
Pretty simple?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Or you can, if you want to, you can just leave it in there. If it's your own machine, you can just leave it in there because it's already got. There should be another port somewhere, pressure port. But you can take it off and leave it in there, or you can put it back in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Pretty simple.
Awesome.
I hope that helps.
It does. So Allan's going to walk us around wheel loaders and show us all the places that we need to pull fluids from there.
Okay, this is a wheel loader. As you can see, it's got axles. So you can't really see it, but where you would take a sample, there's a fill plug right there on these axles. You would use a hose and the vacuum pump. That'd be one way. And sometimes these axles will have a pressure port that you can put them in. Not all the time, but sometimes. And then you open this up. I'm not sure. Now this one here, I don't see a pressure port that you can use the injector in. So you would take that dipstick out, of course, and take it from there on this particular machine.
Another vacuum.
Yes.
Pump.
Another vacuum
Extraction.
pump. Exactly.
Okay.
And then the front axle is just like the rear axle. It'll have a fill port that you can take the sample on. I don't know if it's on this side or the other side. It might be on the other side.
Oh, here it is. On the top.
Yeah. You would use the vacuum pump for that. This one has a transmission. I'm really not sure where this one is at. That's your duct fluid. I don't know if it's on the other side. But this one, it'll either have a port for your probe, or you can get it out of the fill plug or dipstick.
For the transmission, where would that be? Let's see if we can find that.
I don't know if it's on the other side. Actually, it does have a port.
Okay.
This one that's your transmission filter. It also, this one particular one has a port that you can use the needle on. And if it doesn't have it, this is your transmission fill plug. Pull the dipstick out, run your vacuum tube down there, and extract the oil that way.
Okay.
So either way, you can do it on this particular machine. Not all machines have those, like I said, those needle ports. But if it doesn't have a needle port, just go straight to your fill tube or your dipstick tube.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we just want to say thank you to Allan for walking us around on the machine, showing us where to pull the fluids and how to do it right. Thanks, Allan. One of the easiest ways to pull oil samples is using the oil sampling valve. Allan's going to show us how to do that right now.
Okay, the first sample we're going to do, we're going to use the probe. And it's the 177-9343, which it comes with these parts right here, okay? And if you're not sure how to use this or put it together, it comes with directions, as shown here, okay? So, the first thing though, before you do anything, if you're doing multiple samples, you need to mark the top to show what it is, okay? Which this one is going to be for your hydraulics. So I'm just going to put HYD on there. That way I know what it is. I'll take this cap off, put this 2-hole cap on it. Okay. You can insert this hose anywhere you want it, just so it goes up in there, like so. Now the first sample, like I said earlier, will be your dirty oil that's coming out. You're going to clean it up, and then we'll use another one, the same process. But using these probes, which is right here, pull this off, and then this will go in here. But in order to use these, the machine has to be running. So we'll start the machine, and I'll show you how this works.
So Allan, can you ever take samples from the drain pan?
Yes, you can. Especially the engine, because if it doesn't have a port, the only way to get to it is through the dipstick tube.
Okay.
It's not going to hurt anything, and actually sometimes it's better because you get whatever's in that drain pan.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, we'll get the machine started, and I'll show you how this works.
Awesome.
Okay, like I said, once you get it all together, find your port, and this is going to be for your hydraulics. You put that needle in there, you push it, and it comes out into there. You don't have to worry about it sticking in there, because once you push it in, you have to hold it in. Once you let it loose, it'll come. It stops automatically. Pull that out. Get a clean hydraulic bottle. And another clean pump kit. Same thing. I marked it, so I know which one it is. Put it in here. And you don't have to fill it all the way to the top. You can fill it as long as it's about halfway, you're good. Sometimes there's line, but if there isn't a line, we just go halfway, and you're good. You can send it up that way. And then you just redo the steps, just like we did before. Fill your bottle up to where you need it, let go, and stop. And that's your oil set. Now, as far as your old bottle or your clean out bottle, you can reuse it on anything that you're going to sample first. Dirty oil, so it doesn't matter. As long as you have a new one to put the clean oil in.
Makes sense.
Okay? And then once you get that, once you get the good oil, take this cap off, put the lid on, of course. And then inside also, you'll have the paperwork that you fill out. Self-explanatory, address, make, model, hours, and then over here, whatever you sampled, change the oil, no, yes or no, filter, yes or no. And then put your address of the company and the phone number of the contact person. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then once you get done, put this in here, make it nice and tight, put it in your shipping packet. We'll already have that address on it, and you can put a return address on here, but everything is on this right here, inside where the bottle is.
So we didn't really mention it, but the big tip is to already fill out your label so you're ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, you can do it after you get all the samples. That's what I do. I get all my samples first.
Make that all work.
This is the most important one of the most important ones that it tells the lab the make and the model and the hours of finishing. And when it was taken.
Gotcha.
Okay? That's pretty much it right there.
Awesome. So now we're using the probe. So Allan, can you put ports on machines that don't have ports?
Yes, you can. You can order them. Find out. All you need to do is find out where pressure comes out. Put that port in and do the same exact thing that I showed you.
Is it a very hard install?
Sometimes not. Depends where you need to install that fitting.
It all comes down to location?
Yes, a lot of it is location of the fitting.
Got it. Thank you. Allan, what are the fluids that can and should be tested on certain machines?
Okay, it's gonna depend on the make and model. If you're gonna sample all of them, on most track loaders, you'll have the engine, hydraulic, and final drives. Those are the main components, main oils. On wheel loaders, you're gonna have the same thing: hydraulic, engine, and then you have axles and final drives on those. Those would be your main ones. Unless there's a catastrophic, something fails, then you would just take a sample of that one component, like a transmission that went out. You just get a sample of that oil.
So is one hydraulic oil sample enough?
Yes.
So that handles your transmission and your entire hydraulic system?
No, your transmission has different oil.
And is that one that you do as well?
Yes.
Okay.
That's 102. Sorry, I forgot
Got
to
it.
mention that.
Really excited to bring you some practical information on how to pull oil samples using a vacuum pump. Allan's going to show us how to do that right now.
So now Allan's going to tell us about the vacuum extraction method.
Okay, we're going to use the same components or same stuff here, which is a 001500. Comes with the hose, comes with a sample bottle, shipping container, and then the fill out form, like the other one. And also a shipping bag with the address of where you need to send it. And we're also going to use the 5907889 vacuum pump, which looks like this, which can also, this vacuum pump comes with the probe. If you can get to the component that you want to take a sample of, you can use this instead of the hose probe. Okay? We're going to use the dipstick area.
Allan, I have a question. If you decide to use this with the port, how do you have to do a clean extraction first, or a dirty oil extraction first, and then use the port?
You should do one, but I'm gonna do this just to show you, as this machine being down and we couldn't start it, and it is just sitting there. So we'll just say that they want the sample, and we're just gonna take the sample for instructions and showing you how to use this.
Perfect.
You should use it clean out the bottle.
You can start over.
And the only reason why I'm doing that because I don't want to waste all these bottles.
Understood.
Okay, so first thing we're gonna do, as usual, like the last time, you mark it, and this is gonna be for the engine. Take this off. You have your hose here, which is in a plastic bag to keep it clean. And you're gonna take this, cut it to the length where this dipstick is. The easiest way to do it is pull the dipstick out, lay it on a flat surface, measure it out, and you want to go a little bit further than what you actually need. So I'm going to go probably about that much further, that way I have leeway to use the pump. So you cut it off. You put sample bottle inside the back. Make sure it's good and snug. Loosen this up so you can slide your hose in there. Slide your hose in there until you can see it. Doesn't have to be clear at the bottom. Make sure this is tight. What I like to do is I like to usually test it to make sure I'm getting a good vacuum, which I am. Insert the hose into your tube here. Just hold it and start pumping. And once it starts, it should keep a vacuum in there, and you just let it fill up until you want it to get to the correct level, which is, like I said, which is right here. That's plenty. And if it stops flowing, you just pump it up a little more. Once it's there, you just take it out. Whatever is left in that tube, it'll suck it up and bring the rest of it in there. Pull it out. Unscrew your sample. Cap back on it. Stick it inside your container, and then you fill out this form like the last time we showed you. And also remember to put that form in there, because if you don't, the lab won't know what it comes off of. Once done, this cap on there, put it in your shipping bag. You send it off.
Perfect. So, Allan, is there anything we need to know about keeping the vac pump itself clean?
Yes, that's a big question. Pull this out, the hose out, and sometimes that O-ring right there will have residue, or those little ports. Take a clean rag, just wipe it off, like so, and you can reuse it.
Perfect.
Also on this machine, you can either use the vacuum pump tube, or you can use the probe port. This particular machine has one. So either way, you're gonna get a sample. Just, you can use that one or the vacuum. This is your final drive on this particular machine. As you can see, it's got two plugs. One of them shows the level of the oil, and the other one is for your drain. So what you would do, you take this line and set it up here to where it's level. You would take that plug off and use the vacuum one, because you can't use a probe on this. So you would use your vacuum pump to collect the oil.
Perfect.
Plates on it. I'm pretty sure that's where it's at. And this is your transmission area. It's in the back on this machine. In order to get to your probe, check your transmission. You take this plate off, and there should be a probe spot on there where you can get your sample.
What if there wasn't a probe?
If there wasn't a probe, then you would have to use the vacuum one, which is the area where you fill the transmission up, which this one I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
But you would go to where you fill
the fill tube.
The fill tube, correct.